In today's video, we're going to show you how to change out this water shutoff valve here underneath your kitchen sink with a twist. Because if you look closely, you can see this is not your standard water shutoff valve. This one here, you can tell, was connected to that old, ugly, nasty polybutylene piping. That's that gray plastic flexible piping that's been illegal since 1994. All of the builders put this stuff up in the houses back in the 70s and the 80s, and finally in the 90s, after all of the class action lawsuits, it's been made illegal. You can't use it on any construction site anymore. But what do you do when you have an old house that has one of these valves in it? How do you fix it? Well, today we're going to show you how to do that, and it starts right now. Jeff here, welcome back to the channel where we teach you how to do world-class remodeling on your kitchen, on your bathroom, and how to do the most difficult repairs around your house. So if you're new here and you haven't subscribed before, you want to hit that subscribe button down below there, and then click the bell icon next to it. Why? Why do you want to go through all of this? So that you'll be alerted every single time we upload a new video, because let me tell you, you do not want to miss a single one. So let's hop right into it. Let's take a look under the sink here, and let's see what's going on down there. Okay, so here's the shutoff valve here that has your polybutylene piping, and here's the first thing I don't like about it. See how it comes out at an angle, and look how wiggly this stuff is. That's because this is the little regard that builders have for us buyers of homes. Builders for years have always been trying to put the screws to you by giving you cheaper, inferior products just to save a few bucks, to maximize their profits while leaving you with misery. But so you can tell, there's your polybutylene pipe. That's that gray plastic right there. And then they have a crimp-on gate valve. So this gate valve is leaking, and we're going to change both of these right now. Okay. So the very first thing we have to do is cut off the water outside. Okay, go ahead. Yep. Here we go. Now the water is off. Okay, so we're going to use this Sharkbite adapter here, and this adapter will adapt to polybutylene piping. This is specifically made to go to polybutylene. So you see how it's gray on this side? This is the end that you have to plug into the polybutylene pipe, and then the other side here you can plug into copper, CPVC, or PEX. And so this is going to be our plan, is we'll line them up like this. The PVC pipe will come out of the wall and go in here. The adapter will go here. We have to have a little piece of copper pipe here. That copper pipe will then go into my preferred type of angle stop here. And this is going to be a compression fitting. So once we get it into copper, then we can put our normal standard plumbing parts on there, and we won't have to deal with any more of those polybutylene valves. But we will still have the piping here in the house here, but at least you'll have a valve that anybody can change now going forward. All right, so this right here is what they call the Sharkbite Safe Seal tool. This is also a depth gauge that helps you determine how far deep your pipe is supposed to go into the Sharkbite connector there. So what we do is we stick our pipe down in there all the way down flat, and then we got to mark it. So that when we go to insert the pipe into the adapter there, I need to make sure that this red line comes all the way up. Okay, and it needs to go all the way into the connector there, because these things are very critical. Your pipe has to be cut completely square, and it has to go all the way inside here. So the copper pipe will go into this end, and it has to go all the way into the very end to where the stop is, and they're very critical on that distance. Okay, now I like to just give it a little bit of a brushing on either side, and not a whole lot, just a teeny bit. Okay. Just want to make sure I have a clean pipe going into that connector there, into the adapter. And it's all important to remember that you're always supposed to use type L copper pipe here when you're dealing with, potable water systems. Okay, so let me make sure you can tell the difference here. Let me focus it a little better for you. So this right here is the type L pipe, and you can always tell because it's got the blue print on it. If you see anybody using the copper pipe with the red on it, they don't know what they're doing, and you should stop them from working on the job, probably, because they don't know what they're doing. You need to use this type L pipe because it has a thicker wall, and with the turbulence of the 60 psi water pressure, you need that extra thick wall of the pipe here. And you can cause problems and failures later on, and early corrosion, all sorts of weird things that happen from turbulence. But just make sure you're using this type L pipe. Okay, so I usually like to take my reamer here, since I just cut this little piece of pipe, and we'll just ream the inside of it out. Get rid of any little shards and make it smooth so you won't have any turbulence. There you go. Okay, so now you just take the adapter here and you take your pipe here and you stick it in all the way into the till it stops. Okay, so now that it's pushed all the way down, we verified that our line that we drew with the depth gauge, it has to be right there. And if it's not right there, then you know you're not in far enough. Okay, so now what we are going to do is we are going to take our angle stop valve here, and this is what we were looking for, is our little ferrule bead here. The nut goes on the pipe first, facing up. So he's on there now. Next comes the ferrule. And then I usually like to apply a little bit of the silicone grease around the threads here of the valve before we insert it. And then we'll put the valve on and tighten everything down. And once this is built, this whole apparatus here will get plugged right onto the polybutylene pipe that's stubbing out of the wall. Okay. Now that this is done, we can begin to insert it into, see how it stops? It goes in, boop. Then you just tighten it up. So we'll tighten this with the wrenches and get it ready to insert it onto the polybutylene pipe. So I usually hold the base of it with the channel locks, and then I use my rigid wrench. I love this tool. I'll put a link to this down in the description for you. But I usually just tighten it like that. Okay. Okay, so here's the completed part here. And so this is the end that will plug into the cutoff stub out of the polybutylene pipe here. There's our copper tube going into the other end of the adapter. Here's our angle shutoff valve there, all nicely tightened and compressed on there. So all we have to do is just plug this onto the stub out and we're good to go. Okay, so now we're going to come down here and cut the polybutylene as square as possible. So now I'm going to just gently deburr it a little bit. Not a lot of pressure. This doesn't need a whole lot because that is a pretty clean cutter. Okay, so now we are ready to insert our apparatus on there. And I'm going to put it with the water supply, the inlet upward, and just push it right on there. There's always been a debate about these Sharkbite parts here, whether or not we should really be using Sharkbites. And a lot of plumbers don't want to use them, some don't have a problem with them. My take on it is I will use a Sharkbite if it's outside the wall. I won't use it inside the wall. I'll solder the copper pipe together if it's inside the wall to make a repair. But outside the wall, I have no problem using it because if it leaks, you'll see it instantly and you can change them out pretty quickly. And I also use them quite a bit during our remodeling when we are using stub outs, you know, copper stub outs, and we just want to cap something off, we'll put a Sharkbite cap on there for temporary use only. So yeah, they're fine. And when you hear people say, oh, they leak, they do this, it's because the guys that installed it didn't do it properly. They didn't use that orange depth gauge that I just showed you, so they didn't know where to mark the pipe, and so when they insert the pipe in, they don't go far enough in, and they don't know that they're not in far enough, and so they don't have a tight enough grip, and so their Sharkbite is leaking. Okay, so let's try turning on the main water. Well, that's it. These are going into the trash, folks, and we hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please give us a thumbs up below. That tells us that you like us. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below and click on the bell icon. That will tell you every time we get a video uploaded. And we hope you enjoyed this one, and we will see you next time.